MTR Network. We are back with another Super Tuesday recap. We are here to recap Supergirl Season 3, Episode 11, Fort Rozz, and Black Lightning, Episode 2 of Season 1, Lawanda, Book of Hope.
Yep.
All right. I am Shanna, and I am joined by the Doctor.
Hi.
And we're going to start with Supergirl. The episode is called Fort Rozz.
Wait, before we start, I have that comment.
Okay.
The feedback we said. So I'm going to apologize up front because we rarely, if ever, check the comments on our page, on our actual website, which is kind of dumb. And I stumbled across one from last week. So I got to go back through and make sure we didn't miss any others, but I'll say that for next podcast. But Muriel. Hi, Muriel. I found your comment from last week. And she says, oh my God, this review of Black Lightning was all of that. I knew you guys were going to do an awesome job with this new series. Thank you. That's why I wanted to read it, because it praises us. Yay. I'm afraid for this show. I'm afraid for this show because I do not know how long this very pro-Black show will last. That's fair. That is fair.
As long as people keep watching it, it'll last. I mean, as long as the ratings stay the same and it keeps us leading from Flash, it'll stay on.
Supernatural been on for 15 years. The show should be fine. Now, is the show open to a possible crossover with the Flash? So here's the thing: from the very outset, they said that these shows will not interact because they're going in a completely different direction.
I don't think that's true. They said that it won't interact initially and that they are setting up their own universe. I think eventually they will cross over, especially if the show is popular. I think Mara and Salim didn't want, like, they want it to be able to stand on its own, and they didn't want to be beholden to what's already been built with those other shows because they want to build something different. But I think if the show is popular, at some point people are going to call for a crossover and they're going to figure out a way to make it happen. They are set in the same, they have said that they are set in the same universe. Like, this isn't another Earth or anything like that.
Here's the catch, though. I can't think of a show right now the only show I can think that I would want it to cross over with is Legends.
Yeah, and it could definitely do that. It doesn't have to be like a 5-way crossover. I don't think they're going to do something like that. But I do think eventually we will have the characters interact in some way or meet each other in some way if the show is successful and if they feel like the story will warrant it. I think they wanted to keep enough distance so that the show could stand on its own, and so that they didn't have to be bringing up Arrow or Flash every other week.
Right.
You know?
And so she wraps it up with, that would be so amazing. Keep up the great reviews, queens. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. So That's it. Let's go.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Supergirl, Fort Rozz. I just called this episode Supergirls because it was all about women. It was all about the ladies.
I originally titled this Riding in Ships with Girls.
So this episode was actually directed by Gregory Smith, who, if you guys don't remember the name, he was on the show Everwood, which was a Greg Berlanti show. And I believe since Everwood, he's mostly directed since that show went off. He was the main character on Everwood. So that's a nice little Berlanti-verse gem there. And this week's episode is all about Kara having to go to Fort Rozz, which she launched into space. And now she has to go there because there's one of these priestesses that sent Rain to Earth. And they're trying to find information about Rain and try and figure out how to defeat her or what her end game is. So now they're going to go to Fort Rozz. And where it's launched in space is near a blue star, which means Kara won't have any of her powers. So and also the planet that it's near kills anybody with a Y chromosome, so no guys can go.
They
Like
went
they
so
really
over the top. They went so over the top with
they
it.
were like, we're gonna come up with like 10 million contrived reasons why this whole episode should only involve women.
Well, I no, they came up with so many contrived reasons why they couldn't take John. That's really what it was.
No, it was both. It was like they totally wanted to have a girl power, like GRRL, look at us, like sisters are doing it for themselves episode. But they also realized that there is no reason why you can't take John or Monel, who both have powers, unless you come up with a really, really ridiculous reason. So it's like Kara needs help because she won't have her powers, but she can't get help from any of the guys that she knows that have powers because also X chromosome killing planet out of nowhere.
Why? Whoa, Y chromosome
Well, sorry,
killing,
Y
not
chromosome killing planet out of nowhere. So all of a sudden, by the way, I never took biology in high school, so I don't know these things. Uh, yeah, so all these contrivances so that Kara will now go befriend or re-befriend LiveWire, which I was really surprised by because so we all know that this is just one big incestuous universe, on and off screen. And so I was really surprised that they got Livewire but not Banshee.
Banshee's been missing since season 1. I don't think we're
Yeah,
ever gonna see that girl
but
again. I feel
it's
like they left her
but it,
and Max Lord over at CBS
but no,
with,
but it doesn't
with
make any
Lucy.
sense. No, Banshee was on second season, but
Was she?
yeah, she showed up
No,
second
no,
season.
she was. No,
Yeah,
she
because
didn't.
there was a thing with her and Livewire were working together.
I thought that was all season 1.
No, I'm pretty sure that was the beginning of season 2. They came back. So,
Let me.
but either way, I'm just surprised because the actress who plays Banshee is Atalia Ritchie, who is the wife of the other Amel, Robbie Amel. So they're all like besties and like incestuous. So I'm just very, very surprised that it was Livewire instead of Banshee, or that both of them didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other person that they get is Psi, played by Yael Grobglass, who's also on Jane the Virgin. And she goes, but she's locked up. So Livewire apparently is just working in a diner. They just let her just be out on these streets doing whatever she does. And Psi is locked up with a special blocking her mind rays helmet or whatever. And then the last person on their trip is Saturn Girl, Imra. And I just feel like they're not giving Saturn Girl her due. I feel like if you weren't me and didn't go immediately Google who she's supposed to be, you wouldn't know anything about her. I didn't even really understand what her powers were.
I still don't know what her powers are, and I just checked. Banshee was only in season 1. Livewire did show up in season 2, but she did not have Banshee with her.
Okay.
That was all season 1 because her and Banshee teamed up when Barry came over.
Yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm just surprised because I know that she is married to Robbie Amell, who's always guest starring and coming back and all this other stuff. So it's not like, it's not like, I'm sure they have her number is what I'm saying.
Nah,
Right.
we gonna leave her over on CBS. They didn't do her right.
So, but yeah, so I looked up Saturn Girl. Her power, well, I'm surprised you don't remember her from Smallville.
Okay.
Saturn Girl was on Smallville. It was played by a different actress, but she was on season 8 of Smallville.
Oh, that was the Doomsday season. How do I not remember that? That was my favorite season.
She was played by Alex Johnson, who I know from many a Canadian show because she's a Canadian actress.
Do you
Um,
have the title?
it's the
Legion.
episode Legion.
Le-
Yeah.
Now I remember. I just forgot that that was her name.
Hmm.
Because they just look like a small. They just look like a young like pop band. So I just always referred them to, as like to them as a young pop band.
Yeah. So the Saturn Girl was on Smallville. Her powers are the ability to probe minds, push weakened minds, and controls others' thoughts and emotions. She also has telekinetic ability, which we saw in this episode when she opens up the door. Um, but yeah, I just feel like they haven't, other than her being this obstacle to Kara and Monel, they haven't given her any development at all.
No, but I'm wondering if part of that though is because she ain't sticking around long.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought of that, but it just feels weird to take this character, and not even really show us what she can do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Especially because you brought her on this mission.
Hmm.
And aside from talking to Brainiac, which, oh my God, can they not have her call him Brainy?
Nope, they love it.
To
That's what
stab
they
myself,
call him.
almost stabbed myself in the ears with my chopsticks today. I was like, shut up! Oh my God.
I don't know. I'm over here like, give Saturn Girl her things. Like, let us know who she is. It's so awkward to me. And I, I feel like Kara. She seems really nice. I want to like her. I want to know more about her. But it feels like they're not developing her outside of Monel's wife. I didn't
Right.
even know until the episode last week when they fought Rain that she even had powers. I thought she was human.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No.
Like, because they didn't show her doing anything. So I thought he just married some random human. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I just feel bad for her. Anyway, so they get in the ship, they go to this planet. Well, they go to Fort Rozz that's next to this planet. Apparently, them just docking at Fort Rozz knocks it out of orbit. So now it's headed directly into the blue star. So now not only do they need to find this witch woman priestess who apparently has taken over the prison since it docked near this star.
And
Um,
got folks shook.
and got folks shook, and all the men who were still locked up in Fort Ross are dead.
Well, that's because they're near that blue star.
I
It's all,
know, but I'm just like, so the place is just like a floating mausoleum, and now it's a floating mausoleum towards a star, and
because why not?
yeah, and it's gonna hit the star. Mind you, they knocked it out of orbit, and now it's gonna hit the star in like 2 hours. This thing
And all
has been orbiting for what, a year and a half, and now it's about
and
to. I was very surprised.
all I can say is, and all I could think was, Imra was all like, I'm a better pilot than you. I'm like, really, Imra? Really? Because I don't know that just what's happening right now with you knocking this ship out of orbit proves that you're the better pilot.
I
Because
mean,
pilot would have calculated for this and dealt with this, and we would be having these convoluted problems that arose from you bragging about being the better pilot. Just saying.
I had a lot of issues, is what I'm saying. Yes. So,
Okay, real quick, is it me or did they telegraph the hell out of the fact that Livewire was going to die?
oh yeah, I mean,
That had her talking way too much. I'm like, oh, she did.
these shows are not at all good
Subtlety.
for subtlety. The minute you see a person become, especially a villain, have a redemption arc, oh, they're dead. Like, just get prepared for it.
Even before the redemption part, she was just telling so much of her life. I'm like, oh, she's giving us her obituary. Ain't that sweet?
Hmm.
Thank you.
What I did like about the whole redemption arc thing is I appreciated that she she was really there, even though like the whole Supergirl convinced her to be a better person, blah blah blah. But what she was really there for was she was upset that Rain was killing her friends.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like
Hmm.
she's like, okay, we might steal a few things, but that don't mean we deserve to be dropped from the tops of buildings. Like, what are you doing? And I really
Yeah.
like that. Like,
She was really like, save that shit for Supergirl.
yeah, she's like, this is some bullshit. So I like that.
You can drop her ass, but you ain't dropping me.
Um, and then they encounter this one random prisoner named Tormac, which I enjoyed because it was a black woman. She was a really good fighter. We don't know what happened to her, if she survives, if they bring her back to Earth, because last we saw she was locked up on the ship.
Oh,
I
wait.
don't know if
Okay,
anything's going to happen from that.
did I miss this? I don't know if I missed that they ever pulled it back out of the orbit. Or was it still, they just left and left everybody on there and it was still falling into the star when they took off?
Oh, Fort Rozz?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they just let them go. Like they got off. And then, yeah, everyone else is dead. Fort Rozz is done.
God damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the thing we didn't mention about the priestess is that her name is Ra. She's the original prisoner. The
Mm.
place is named after her, which I thought was so funny. I was like, they named the place after the first prisoner? I don't think Kryptonians know how naming works.
Not at all.
That's not how that goes. This show sometimes, I swear. Um Another thing that I will say that I appreciate about this show, we talked about it last week, they have leaned so heavily into the cheese. And I'm with it. I'm with it. If that's their thing, if that's their niche, I'm with it. Let's be cheesy. Everybody
Oh,
has their
that-
thing. I think Legends is kind of zany. I think Flash is very much so about like the heart and the emotion. Arrow is dark and gritty. If Supergirl's thing is it's cheesy, that's their thing. I accept it. What else happens this episode? You are probably better than me right now because you actually took notes.
oh, Monel and Kara had their little, closure discussion. But I'm trying to get to Perilous. So let's get to Perilous, the Black
Well,
World.
okay. One thing we forgot, the big fight.
Oh, when okay,
So,
so all I could think during that fight is like Kara really needs an Agent May in her life.
okay. So Rain shows up in the middle of this priestess possibly giving Kara some information on her. Rain shows up ready to fight. She apparently, even though she is part Kryptonian, is not affected, just like she wasn't really affected by the kryptonite. She is not really affected by this blue star. She still has her powers. She's about to take out Kara when LiveWire stops her and ends up dead herself. Um, and then what I really liked about this is the first time that Sam realizes that she's losing time.
Yeah.
Or the first time she acknowledges it, because she says it's been happening. But she finally realizes that she's losing time. So at the beginning of the episode, she left Ruby with Alex, and then she was supposed to go to a meeting for Lena. And when she gets back from being Rain, she has all these missed calls from Lena because she definitely missed the meeting. And and Alex and Ruby are all like, "How was your trip, your work trip?" And she was like, "What work trip?" So she realizes for the first time that she's losing time, which I think, and also Psi gets into Rain's mind, and when she gets into Rain's mind, it kind of gives Sam a little bit of control for a minute.
Which pissed me off because I know where they're going and god damn it, she has to kill the kid. I am still team kill that kid.
The power of love is gonna save Sam.
As she holds her dying child in her arms.
Nope. Power of love is gonna save Sam, and that baby is gonna be fine. I love it. I'm here for it. I've leaned into the cheese. I told you.
Mama, why? Why, Mama, why?
I've leaned into the cheese, and I'm ready for it. Um, so the one bit of information that Kara's manages to get is that she said pestilence and purity.
Yes.
Okay.
So there are three other world killers that are known. There's a fourth that they were searching for, but they were having trouble finding it. And that's Flower of Heaven, Perilous, who's Pestilence, and D-Max. The one we were introduced at the end, Stinger, the Black Lady, is probably Perilous.
Okay. And what are this character's powers?
She's poisonous. Anything she touches withers and dies.
Okay. That's interesting, though, because the way they showed her power manifesting, she seemed very like she pushed her friend out of the way of that car.
Right, but I'm wondering if it's the same deal as Sam in the beginning, where they're sleepers.
Yeah. And she seemed to just
at
have
certain
super strength.
Like at a certain age, you're supposed to manifest, but whatever happened in terms of their landing has blocked that. 'Cause that's what happened with Sam.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they're going the same route with everybody else.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, if her powers are like some sort of poison, or that she's poisonous. I'm surprised that that was how they chose to introduce her.
Well, I mean, her injury triggered probably her reawakening.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just saying in terms of like how her parents.
They're all strong as hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that each has a different ability. Rain is the leader.
Okay, so it'll be interesting to see what happens from here in terms of all of these world killers manifesting, and at least at the very least, Kara at least knows there's more. So she has a mission now, versus just don't get killed. It's is all she's been doing for the past couple episodes, trying not to get killed. And there was some little quirky, fun stuff with Brainiac being rude to Winn and talking about how limited the resources of the DEO are and how limited their brains are and all this other stuff. And then Winn figures out how to help everyone, and so knocked Brainiac down a few pegs. So that was cute. And Ruby and Alex. This was adorable.
Okay, did you say terrible? Because I did not appreciate sharing. No, I did not appreciate Alex sharing all this need to know information with a 12-year-old that did not need to know all this about her life, her personal life.
I thought it was adorable.
That baby is not your counselor, and she already got a murderous blanking out mama. She don't need your issues on top of that.
No, I thought it was perfect. I thought it was perfect. First of all, Ruby's met Maggie, so she knew about Maggie and the fact that they had broken up. So it wasn't like she was just introduced to this. And then I liked it because Alex's opening up got Ruby to open up about the fact that she was being bullied, which she can't talk to her mama about because her mama barely remembers what's going on.
All I'm saying is this. You could have gotten that girl to open up. And yes, Ruby knew that Maggie was gone. The level of information about your personal feelings on that, and that girl she is a child. She is not your counselor.
I didn't think it was anywhere. Yeah, I didn't think she said anything appropriate. They didn't talk about fucking.
I know that, but as a parent, I could not get down with that.
All she said was that they broke up and that she thought she was over it, and it still hurts.
And like I said, she's 12. Go find a.
That's nothing. That's literally nothing. I've had those conversations with my friend's daughter.
Ooh.
That's ridiculous. Okay. I thought it was adorable. And I like that then Alex went and messed with that bully.
Now that was good.
I really
appreciated that. She had that little girl shook. And I was like, get her.
My favorite part of it was when she said, first of all, when the door opened, I was immediately like, where are Alex's crutches? She's probably standing there on one leg, looking a mess. But what was the one part that she said? Oh, when they were about to leave, and she was like, there was this other girl that bullied me that's just a few houses over. Alex was like, slow your roll. You got one.
Like, let's get them all handled today. That part was cute.
What else? That was pretty much it. That was pretty much the episode. Overall, what did you think of this one?
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It was, It wasn't a filler episode, but it was kind of light on content. But I enjoy, all the girls getting together. I enjoyed Psi staying true to her personality.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, she's like, I saved you, but that's because I'm not trying to be stuck here. I can't pilot this plane, and I got to make sure you come back, or Imra's not going to take me back. So I appreciate that they stayed true to who she was.
Yeah, what I really enjoyed, or what I'm hoping will happen, is that we'll see her. It's hard because she's on Jane the Virgin. It's not like she's a side character, like she's one of the main characters on Jane the Virgin. But I would really love to see the two of them work together, because I also don't, they never told us whether or not she told Kara what she saw in Rain's head. And I think that would be interesting. Also, now finding out that Saturn Girl has similar telepathic abilities, I'm surprised that Kara didn't try and have her read Rain's mind.
I don't get the sense that they know that about Saturn Girl.
Yeah, but I also just, Saturn Girl knows that about Saturn Girl. Why are you not trying to read the bad guy's mind? You know what I'm saying?
Well, the question becomes, she's been trying not to change the timeline too much. Her reading that mind and revealing that information before it was meant to be revealed, because she doesn't know when Supergirl finds this out. So if she reveals that too soon, she's messing with the timeline. And Mon-El and her have been very careful to try to avoid that.
I guess, but they don't necessarily know how Supergirl, they just know that Supergirl defeats Rain, or that Rain goes away. So now we're getting all timey-wimey. But, if time is a loop, then actually them being there, they're supposed to be there, and they are supposed to
You heard, Fizz. It can't be changed. Now shut up.
The latest episode would actually beg to differ. But
in that episode,
but we're not agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so we are not going to get into that. But yes, the whole point is it can be changed. So what grade would you give this episode?
I'd give it a B.
I actually am going to give it an A, and I think I'm grading on a curve, and that curve is The Flash, which sucks right now. So that's making all of my grades for the other shows go up.
Listen, I have not watched The Flash in 2 weeks. I've been relying on Nina and Donnie and John over at Project Fandom, because they do a play-by-play, and from these play-by-plays they are giving me, I am saving my time by not watching.
And the thing is, I enjoyed last week's episode because I looked past the inconsistencies. But you tell me I have to have a whole episode of Dibney. I'm over here looking at pictures of Tom Felton, wondering why we can't have Julian back. Like, if we must have a white man be the center focus of this all, I'd rather have it be Julian. At least then I get a British accent.
You know what it is for me? It's kind of like what Deepalm and Chris have been saying about having to watch The Flash and then turn around and watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I watch Discovery on Monday after evenings before Supergirl comes on, and then I have to turn around and try to watch The Flash. It's a no-go, man. I can't come from the greatness that is going on Discovery into the shit show that is The Flash right now. So,
it's not even that for me. It's just Tuesdays. I'm excited to watch Black Lightning, and then I really definitely got to watch The Flash first if I'm going to watch it. And then last night I had no desire to watch it at all because Dibney.
Look, I saw that trailer. I was like the meta who was promised, but that nobody fucking wanted. Anyway.
Yeah.
Our guest? Do you want to bring in our guest?
Yes. So I was going to say let's move on to Black Lightning. And we have some special guests joining us.
What's going on, y'all?
Hey, hon.
You guys want to introduce yourselves?
D?
Yeah.
This is Parrish.
To the audience, not to me. I know who you are.
See, you're just gonna give me a hard time this whole time. Okay, I'm prepared now. So y'all probably know me from the Star Wars Rebels recap, and we had a pretty interesting Star Wars The Last Jedi recap.
The Thirst Cast, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So if you haven't listened to it, go check it out.
And you have to do premium to check it out. So,
D, you there?
let me see. Hey,
Oh,
D, you
okay.
there? You're on mute. Well, join us when you can. We have D, who also he's my partner with the Hiroja and Chris on the Star Trek Discovery podcast, and he does.
Oh yeah, I will be on the next week.
Save it. Just take notes, write it down, bring it on Friday.
Okay, so this time it's not just us. We have some guests to discuss episode 2 of Black Lightning, but I'm going to ask you first, what did you think of the first episode?
I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be bad. I just like everybody else said, I wasn't expecting it to be this damn black. I mean, I guess you should guess it. Should have guessed it considering who was running the show. But still, I mean, you turn the show on and it just hit you, and it was great. And yeah, that was the whole of it.
Yeah. So what about episode 2? Doctor, what was your opinion on episode 2?
Okay, so all of my notes is like from beginning to end, it was so black. Like down to the fact that when he was talking to the folks at the school and he was quoting Dr. King out of context the way like white Republicans do on Fox News. And that brother stood up like and they shot him in the head. So now what? I was like, yes! Yes! It was really black. But here's the catch. It was good, but it's still a little too real for me. Too real life for me, that it's still a little like last week I mentioned that I enjoyed it. It was strong, but it's just too uncomfortable. I think I'm at a place in my life where stuff like this is triggering. Like there's that 7 seconds miniseries that's coming on Netflix with Regina King.
Yeah, I'm going to be covering it for Project Fandom.
And I watched the trailer and I was like, I can't watch this. It's too real. And I'm feeling that from Black Lightning right now. I'm enjoying it, but it's just it's a little too real. It's realer than I expect from the CWDC comic shows. And maybe that's what I need to make.
Yeah, I think for me, it is very real, but I think that is also what makes it appealing for me. It's what draws me to the show is that I feel like this is... I think when I think of DC a lot, it is very removed from real life. And that's kind of why I think I tend to gravitate towards Marvel comics, because they do kind of blend the real world and the comic world. So that's the vibe that I'm getting from this show. And I think that's why I really like it so much, is because it's giving me both. It's giving me the themes of the real world, and then it's just giving me superhero fights. So I spend half the time just being like, oh my God. And then the other half of the time cackling, like just outright the amount of joy that I get from watching an episode of Black Lightning. I know Rod was joking last week on his show when he was talking about it, and he was like, it's better than Leftovers, it's better than Wire. Like, but that's almost kind of how I feel, because the joy that I have watching the episodes is so great. I don't know. I know it's just episode 2, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
Okay, real quick. Hey D, were we able to connect you this time? Yeah. Looks like he's connected. I don't know. Okay, keep going. I'm gonna see what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of hard, you get to talking about it and it's kind of hard to put it into words, you see it and it's in your face, and you know, there's a real element to it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, the reason why I gravitated towards Marvel was because there was some semblance of the real world in those comics, and it was that made it a little more, you know, among other things, made it a little more relatable to me. But there's something that just you sit there and you watch it and you lose all of your words. It's just just that level of blackness on the CW.
Right. I think that maybe that's what's going on about it too.
Yeah, it's so well done. It feels like people you know. Just going back to that scene where he's standing in front of the parents of the school trying to explain what happened, and she tells him that the Seahorse Inn is still open, that it reopened like 48 hours after Black Lightning attacked. And he was like, I didn't know. And she goes, clearly. I was like, that is every black woman I have ever known. Clearly. She might as well have said, mm-hmm. Like,
there was that, but then like when Lawanda is talking to him when she's doing that very ill-advised stakeout, like Jesus, Lawanda. And no, before the stakeout, they're talking in the gym after that conversation, and she's like, you know, everybody said, you know, she's asking for help, and he's giving excuses. She's like, you know what, never mind. Everybody says they're praying for me, but ain't nobody willing to fight for me. And all I could think was like, said every black woman in the world on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that it cracked my heart. Oh my God, I was like, oh, sister, ain't that the truth?
yeah. I think so. For this one, we're talking about going by character instead of going by scene, because if we go by scene, we'll be here all night. I really would love to just break it down scene by scene, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to go by character. So I'm going to ask our guest, do you want to start with Anissa, Jennifer, Jeff, and Lynn, who I'm putting together, or the villains?
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Hey.
There we go. There we go. Sorry about that.
You know what?
What's going on, D?
Did you forget to take yourself off mute? Because if you did, I'm gonna judge you.
No, I have. I'm using a different laptop which has worked before, and I don't know.
They didn't want you to be great. That's okay. We got you now.
Okay, so quickly give us your thoughts on the first episode and last night's episode. Your general thoughts.
Okay, I listened to last week's podcast and your thoughts on it. I kind of give it like an 8 because I thought it was a good start. I didn't think it was, you know, greatness, but it's definitely a good start. You know, I wasn't. There were certain casting issues I have with Black Lightning.
Okay.
And mainly Tobias Whale.
Oh,
who Moji called the mix between Jadena and Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but my issue with him is that based off of at least what I remember them saying, I thought he should have been older.
Oh, okay.
The guy, the actor is probably a good actor. I think he only has like one IMDb credit to his name, but I'm not, you know, denigrating Zach. I just thought he should have been older, just based off of what was said in the episode. Oh, you know, overall there was a lot of stuff. One thing I'm surprised you guys didn't talk about was, you know, just the issues of, you know, was it Jennifer's, you know, sort of standing up for herself, you know, when she said, was it, you know, I'm a little high, but, you know, you ain't getting, I ain't that high where you're still going to be getting some or something like that. But it was a good start. There are certain things that I hope, you know, certain things I hope I see, you know, in the series going forward. You know, basically, you know, how they got their powers, why the kids are living with him and not her.
Mm-hmm.
why they're, you know, the Martin Luther King dude looks like had such an issue with Black Lightning.
Yeah. That stuff I'm thinking is definitely all going to come out in flashbacks. Like, I think that's really what I liked about the premiere was that it sets you up with enough of that you have those questions and you want to know more.
And honestly, with the kids living with him, they might explain it differently. I just assumed that they wanted them in the school that he was the principal for, given that he spent so much time as a vigilante on the streets. This way, he could monitor them.
But is that a private school? Is that a public school or a charter school or something? I couldn't tell.
It's a public school, but if it's like most public schools, you have to be in your district.
Understood, but yeah, I couldn't tell whether the school was.
Yeah, I think it's just a public
or,
school that they wear uniforms at. That was like a lot of schools that I went to when I was before I went to high school. Most of our
that's the majority of this. Yeah, that's the majority of schools in my area.
Yeah,
it happens a lot, especially in minority neighborhoods where they think, oh, if we just make everybody wear uniforms, they won't have the issues of fighting over clothing and shoes and stuff like that. Kids.
Oh, and another thing, one of the things concerns I had when I heard that the Achilles were doing this show was I thought they would get the being black part right. I just wasn't so sure about being a superhero.
But
and
from
so
what I know
far,
about Salim,
it's not too bad, but it's jury's still out in my opinion.
But from what I know about Salim Akil, he is a comic fan. Like, I think he was working on the Static Shock show that they were talking about developing. I could be wrong.
Oh, I predict that somehow they will introduce Static in this show.
Yeah, I think that is the plan. And I think it's similar to how, and this is going to be weird because now he's not going to be involved in the show anymore, but similar to Kreisberg, I know initially he's been wanting forever to do a Booster Gold show. Like, he wrote a whole spec script for a Booster Gold show. And so then doing the Flash, because the Flash is more recognizable, like, his hope was to eventually introduce Booster Gold and then spin off a show from that. So I think the hope for this one is to introduce Static Shock and then hopefully spin off a Static Shock show. So I don't know. This is just from what I've heard, different interviews from people talking about why they were interested in Black Lightning and this project and who they brought on and why. So
low key, I'm not that fond of his costume, and I'm not quite sure why.
I mean, we can talk about that.
Yes, it's just a minor issue with me, but I don't. It's.
I think it's just a. I mean, I think it is kind of cheesy, but I think it's part of the little bit of cheese that this show injects that I do enjoy. Like his costume is cheesy. The fight scene where he's basically, it felt like I'm gonna get you, sucker. The way he walked in that building. And, really did. And when dude was like, Black Lightning, my man, and he like, you want to take the elevator? Like, it just felt like that scene and I'm gonna get you, sucker, when John Slade like walks in and he has the theme music and he's like, who's that behind you? That's my theme music. Like,
wait, can we talk about the fact that that old man doorman snitched so damn fast?
So fast. All of the people working in that building stand for Black Lightning, and they were waiting for him to finally come and beat up Latavius. You know Latavius don't tip them. You know he's not nice to those people.
So are you purposely not calling him Lala?
I was about to ask the same question.
I'm grown. I'm not calling no grown man Lala.
Well, you see. I'm with you because the only Lala is, well, Carmelo's wife.
Yeah, Lala.
That's the only one.
And I was, and as far as I was introduced to her as Lala, but I'm not calling no grown man Lala. His name Latavius. All right. Let's jump into this. Pick a character.
Which character you
I
need to
have
list?
Jeff. I'm going to give you the categories. Jeff and Lynn, who are one character. Anissa, Jennifer, the villains. And then I have just like 2 comments about Alfred, but we're going to talk about Alfred too.
We're not talking about Lawanda?
Lawanda comes up in the other stuff. She's not her own character.
Yes, she is. You get access to her due.
We're gonna talk about Lawanda.
She died trying
But
to save her baby. You put some respect on Lawanda's name.
she does not get her
I have
whole category.
I had an issue with her casting too.
D, you have an issue with everything.
Okay, look. They said
Okay, wait, no.
I'll wait, but I have a reason why I have an issue with her casting.
I think I have a similar issue.
Oh, you shut. She died for her baby. Everybody
no,
shut.
it's not that. It's ages.
Thank you.
They're not.
That's exactly what I had the issue I had.
I will.
She looks like
I'll
she's too
agree with
old
that.
to have been a student of his.
Yeah, that was my issue
He's
too.
only been teaching there for like
I thought
9 years, like 7.
You know, age like just beautifully. It's possible Crest is just aging beautifully,
and she's not. Black don't crack,
maybe she had a hard life.
No, Black don't crack. She should look better or they should cast younger. That's one thing that they haven't been doing a good job. Like, I think they wanted that older Black woman feeling, but they also wanted to make her connected to Jefferson as one of his students, and it was off. Like, because
it really
even Latavius was pushing it. I was like, he must have been a senior when Jefferson started teaching there.
Like, he's just been held back like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. Like,
because it left me asking, like, exactly how old is Jefferson Pierce? Like, yeah.
Especially like he has lived a hard life. I'm sorry. So he should not be aging that well. Although Cress Williams is clearly drinking the blood of virgins, because he looked the same as he did when he was playing Scooter.
Him and Bianca lost them both.
Exactly. So, all right, pick a character.
So, do we want to go with the main characters? You want to go with Jefferson and Lynn first?
We can start there. We can definitely start there, because the show decided the over-under for me was episode 3. We were going to get Jeff and Lynn getting close again. This show was like 5 minutes into episode 2. We about to make out.
Mm-hmm.
I love this show.
Dan was laying there just looking all nice and tasty. I mean, and they were married, so I'm just saying.
It was beautiful. I was like, these two, I have never, the chemistry between the two of them, so beautiful.
And Parrish, that's your girl from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. That's my girl from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I love them so much. Then he goes to the meeting thing. Besides the fact that I thought Homegirl was too old to have been his student, was her baby's name Shaquanda Lynn?
Yes, it was.
Okay. I love what the writers are doing. I love what the writers are doing, except, do they have a Black name generator in the writers' room? They mixed all of the elements together. They were like, okay, it's going to start with an SHA. We're going to get a QU in there.
Well, for what it's worth, there is a gentleman named Latavius Murray who plays running back for Minnesota.
It's not even that. I know
So
Latavius.
there is a real life Latavius. So.
I'm sure there's a real life Shaquanda Lynn out there. I'm just saying, do they have a Black name generator? Because now it just feels like they're just mixing stuff up and coming out with names.
And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm fine with it. This show is black as hell.
Ridiculous. Also, can we talk about the other thing that came out of that meeting for me? The police in this town are absolutely worthless.
Oh, they just opened the door right for the criminal to come kill his compatriot.
I don't know if it's
not
so
even
much.
the corrupt police. I'm talking about the fact that this woman is standing here. She's like, my child has been taken and has been whored out. I know where she is. The place was closed for all of 48 hours before you let them move right back in. You know what happens in this hotel, and nothing is being done.
See, my thought about that.
I won't
Sorry.
lie. No, it's okay. I won't lie. What's his friend, the cop that his neighbor? I forget his name. What's his name?
Henderson is.
Do we actually find out his first name at all?
I don't think so.
I honestly wonder and or think that Henderson is part of this whole corruption piece. I really do.
I hope not.
I expected him to be there when Lexi Jenna showed up. Look, shout out to Mosey. She pointed it out, and now I can't unsee it.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think he is corrupt. I think the whole dang police department is incompetent. And I just don't understand. And also the fact that every single time something does happen, I just don't understand why he's focused on catching Black Lightning. Like his
you know what I think it is? I think Henderson is a stickler for the rules.
Except he released people that was throwing out people in a hotel 2 days later.
But lawfully, what could he have done?
Right. And I think, a part of me immediately thought when that scene happened about R. Kelly, right? How, the article came out that people knew he was like basically holding women captive, but because they couldn't prove that they were being held against their will, there was like nothing they could do. Yeah. That's just immediately what popped in my head.
That's a good point.
I get it, but also my thing is, if Lawanda is out here staking out the motel, why aren't you out here staking out the hotel? Find a way to get the evidence. It feels like they're waiting for a break. They're waiting for someone to flip, or they're waiting for someone to I don't know.
But
especially because Henderson tells Jefferson, yeah, she's staked out at the motel. You need to talk to her because she's going to get herself killed. If you know that her doing that has the potential to put her life at risk, bare minimum, you can't rush the hotel. But just like you put a car on Jefferson's house, you can put a car on that motel to keep an eye on her.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. It's that. It feels like he's... And then for all his Black Lightning,
but did he know she was staking it?
No, he knew because he went to Jefferson and said, "Tell her to stop doing it."
Yeah, he told Jefferson to get her out of there. That's why Jefferson went to talk to her.
And so it doesn't make sense to me because it feels like even with all his Black Lightning is bad and Black Lightning is a vigilante, I see you was still okay with Black Lightning giving you all this evidence.
Okay, so here's my thing.
Getting Latavius for you.
I wonder if one of the curves for the show is that Henderson actually knows that Jefferson is Black Lightning, and his whole his supposed vitriol for Black Lightning is a smokescreen.
So do you think it's a thing where Henderson knows, but Jefferson doesn't know that Henderson knows, that kind of thing?
I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting if he knew and Jefferson knew he knew. And so
more interesting if he knew and Jefferson doesn't.
Okay. But I think, it just would be interesting if it were at least where I'm coming from. I think it would be interesting if they made this conscious effort to have an inside man whose job it is to kind of throw the scent off. I can see it. I can see it both ways, but I just wonder because they're supposed to be real close like that.
They're going to have to show me something different because right now I'm looking at him and I'm just like, your whole department is incompetent. Half your department is probably racist. I got nothing.
But we know for sure.
But I think Henderson actually knows his department is either dirty / whatever you want to call them. And he's just trying to, if I play by the rules, maybe things will turn out right. I mean,
No, you
And
need
I
to do
gotta be
better.
fair.
Do better. Do better,
And I
black
gotta be
man.
fair here. Like, isn't like incompetent police officers kind of a conceit of comic books in general?
A little bit, but still, no.
Yeah,
Do
I
better,
mean,
black man. Also, just saw that he shows up in Bates Motel, and now I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to see his black ass again. Um, and also, his first name on IMDb is just Inspector. He don't have no first name.
Damn.
Honestly, Damon Gupton. I think if you look at a lot of his roles, all he plays is detectives.
Yeah, no, on Bates Motel he's a doctor.
Oh,
the
okay,
checks,
my bad.
the checks clear, bro.
But no, there's a ton of like when you scroll through his IMDb, it's definitely like detective.
The check's still clear.
He's your standard black detective.
Hey, if it can give you a consistent work, can't beat it.
Not mad at him. Cress Williams been playing, the black guy on the white show for ages, for decades. So
Richard Belzer played the same character for damn near 3 decades.
yeah, even homegirl who is playing his wife, she's basically been like the black woman badass fighter on every show she's been on as well. So hey, they're all seasoned actors, is what we're saying.
So, what did you guys think about Lynn's approach to stopping Black Lightning?
Okay, so this is the thing that really hurt my feelings, because we got this beautiful and they're making out and they're getting back together and there's all this chemistry, and at one point I was literally screaming at the TV screen, "Make your man a plate and have sex with him." And then Lawanda dies, or we'll get into how she died. Lawanda dies, and he wants to go back to being Black Lightning. And then I realized in that moment that Lynn really thought it's an addiction. I thought she was just using that as a metaphor, but she legit thinks it's that. And we find out that she's a neuroscientist, which I think is part of it. She has that really cheesy line where she says something like, "I'm a neuroscientist. I understand the head. I don't always understand the heart." Girl, who wrote that? Not one of the black writers.
But even he was like,
But that's the thing that was so interesting, was when she said she was a neuroscientist, and then when she got angry and she said I realized that she wasn't using the addiction thing as a metaphor. It clicked for me why she thinks that, because an addiction is it's a brain thing. Your body gets used to feeling that, your brain gets used to feeling that, and it wants to feel that sensation again and again. And so it makes sense why she thinks of it like legitimately like that.
Well, to be fair to her, remember the opening scene of the second episode where he's just got all this sort of power sort of going through him almost, and he's trying to work through it almost like he's coming off
of a
high or something like that. Yeah. So there might be something to that. So
that was exactly what I was going to say. We don't quite know what type of physical impact his powers have on him. So she may have knowledge of his physiology that we don't have at this point.
Yeah, and that's what when I realized that she was a neuroscientist, I was like, oh, she's literally looking at it from a medical point of view. The way they used it in the first episode, I thought she was just using it as a metaphor.
It does seem like it's connected to his emotions. Like when he goes to see Latavia thing, they knock him on the ground, and you can tell he's getting mad and he's having to temper it. When the cops pull him over in the first episode, both times he had to temper it. So it does seem connected to his emotions. So she may be onto something.
Yeah. I'm also wondering if, because the way he says to her, "Do you remember what it was like when we first discovered my powers. So it makes me think that it wasn't like a situation where she started dating him or he was already Black Lightning before they got together. That when he discovered his powers was around the same time she discovered his powers. So I also wonder if she's studied him in any way.
That's my thought. That I think that she has.
But if she studied him, why hasn't she shown any concern about her daughters?
I don't think we know enough yet.
Between him, and
Yeah,
this is more stuff that needs to come
out. His
out.
powers like a scientist. You would think maybe it's gotten, the powers can be passed down. I don't.
Yeah.
Right. But what were you saying, Shanna?
No, I'm saying it's the same. That's the same thought that I had. Is like, just from last week, I was kind of like, why has he never had a conversation with his girls? Like, I guess about him being Black Lightning, but then also just why has it never occurred to him to look out to see if his kids might have it, like have some sort of powers manifest? But then also now knowing that his wife was a neuroscientist and may have possibly studied him, the fact that they haven't sat down with those girls and had a talk at some point is very weird to me. Or at least been on the lookout for something to manifest in some way. It doesn't even seem like they're suspicious of it happening. And I guess this is more stuff that we'll just find out in like flashbacks. I'm wondering at what age his powers manifested. Because it could be a thing that maybe it didn't manifest until he was around Annissa's age. But then again, like, why wouldn't he be looking out?
Right. Yeah, but we also saw at the very end of episode 2, Tobias Whale showing a good deal of strength that was probably power enhanced. So that there's probably some, overarching, connection,
between
as to how they got their powers. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if it just manifested, if there was some sort of, Marvel's great for that, like there was an accident, like that gave me my powers. So I'm just wondering what it is, and therefore why he thinks it wouldn't, or hasn't thought that it might be passed down. So they go from in love and happy and feeling like they might get back together again to him deciding to go back to being Black Lightning, and Lynn again saying she's not ready to watch him hurt himself every night, which is really interesting too, because at the beginning of the episode she was very much so like, I feel kind of selfish for asking you to stop. And seeing what he's going through in terms of feeling guilty about what happens to Lawanda, I was surprised that she, and now that the girls are older, I was surprised that she didn't kind of support him.
What threw me was that, yeah, I agree. It seemed uncharacteristic for her, especially given last week she was all in on him going Black Lightning to get her girls back. So, yeah, I did not care too much for that presentation of her that way.
And I was wondering, like, did he not explain to her about that meeting? And because I thought it was a very real question, like, why did Black Lightning save your girls? There's a ton of girls in there. Like explaining that to her. And I thought he had, because of how she expressed the guilt over asking him to stop. But yeah, I don't know.
And I thought that the confrontation between Lynn and Gamby was even more weird to me.
Okay, so that's my note on Alfred. Alfred and Lynn don't fuck with each other.
No, not at all.
They do not fuck with each other, yo.
That's because Gamby is a pusher. She's trying to get her husband back on track. He's like, here, come smoking this Black Lightning crack pipe. He is a pusher.
The first costume is free.
Right, the first costume.
I mean, it was so interesting because she's like, you're feeding his addiction, and he's like, he's not addicted to being Black Lightning. He's addicted to you. Like, he's really upset that he stopped being Black Lightning, and not just for the fact that, he clearly they had a relationship and he feels like a father figure to him, but he's like, he left this city to fall to disarray again, and he did it for you, and you don't even realize that. Like, he's like legit mad at Lynn.
I'm going to need them to explain, Jefferson and the suit man's relationship.
Oh yeah.
He said it was like a father to him.
Yeah, but how does he become such a technical wizard? Because
dude, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Comic books.
No, I wasn't going there. It's only episode 2.
It's
only
true.
episode 2. We got time to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need it all right up front.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just one of those things where I know we're going to get it. Like, it's just that kind of show where I'm like, I know we're going to get it. So I'm excited for it. But
Well,
yeah,
that's interesting.
He don't fuck with Lynn.
Nah. But I think in that conversation we get this interesting, like, I mean, it's a universal thread with superheroes. Which identity is the real one?
Mm-hmm.
Is he Jefferson, or is he Black Lightning, or is there some balance between the two? Clearly there isn't, because we're having this conversation. But it also kind of, at least in my mind, it gets it takes on another dimension when you look at Jefferson as, I guess, for a lack of a better way of saying it, as kind of the embodiment of a certain type of respectability.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he did kind of get pushed back on by the people in the gym, and then Black Lightning being the man on the streets, if you will, the guy who has his ear to the streets, the guy who gets things done, the guy who's the champion of the little man, and he's clearly feeling this disconnect with the community, which is driving, which is kind of the driver of his argument with Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be what's pushing him back into being Black Lightning. So I mean, it's just this. I think they're really hitting on something. Like, they're really hitting a nerve with the way that they're dealing with the duality of a superhero.
Yeah, I think also realizing that while he's built up this great community within the school, he has elevated himself and separated himself from the community in some way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was kind of a meta narrative on how respectability just can't save us.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know some people feel like his presentation has been over the top with respectability, but I'm wondering if that's deliberate. Like, this whole idea, for 9 years, he's tried this respectability politics route, and it's not getting the job done. The only thing you did was come to an impasse with Latavius, where he's still doing illegal shit. He just don't do it in certain places. And that's not a compromise that you should be willing to make, because that's sacrificing a portion of your community, and that's not acceptable.
And actually, so you remember when I DM'd the two of you saying I had some thoughts about the show? Mm-hmm. So I actually went back and watched it the second time before talking with you all anymore about it, because that really struck me on the first watching. I was like, Jefferson is really respectable. And that kind of rubs me a certain way. But then when I watched it the second time, I agree with you. I think that is deliberate. I think that they're trying to address this duality in through Jefferson and Black Lightning as two distinct identities.
Yeah. And it's the being disconnected from the community and kind of realizing, even in that one line where he says, "I didn't know," and she says, "Clearly," he is so disconnected. Like, he literally thinks, "Oh, I did this, it's cool, I shut it down," and people are like, "No, they just spring back up." Like, like, he didn't, just because Black Lightning fought the 100 gang, that doesn't mean Club 100 is closed now.
Like it was an eye opener for him too. It's like, you really just don't know how this works. For 9 years, you thought you were the man doing shit, and it turns out you weren't doing anything.
Yeah. It's so much going on. It's so deep. I will say, Lynn also has my man all in his feelings. He was looking at slideshows. I like this nigga guy. Google Slides going. He is all torn up.
Yeah, I was halfway expecting them to play some Lenny, man, with the soundtrack they got going.
No, I was expecting for them to play Brian McKnight's one last.
He's just sitting there, do I ever cross your mind anytime?
Come on, yo. But I mean,
as much as I would like for them to play some Brian or music, like, do they have the budget?
Look, with all the other music they were playing, I think so. They had some.
Yeah, but okay. Take episode 1 out of it. Episode 2 was pretty much a lot of people you've never heard of.
what?
With the exception of the Al Green song.
No, my love. No. You need to expand your music universe. There.
You know what I think it is,
bruh.
though? But I think, too, it's always going to be that way because that's what you want on a show. You want, as a music supervisor on a show, you want to have some stuff that people recognize, but you want to introduce them to new artists. That's going to be a part of what makes your show cool and interesting.
Okay, well, and the Billy Call song. I take that back. Yeah. My bad.
I liked it. I love the music. Even the corny Black Lightning theme song music.
Okay.
I love it.
Think
that can go.
Hey, say that again, brother. Say it again.
Go.
I'm here. There's a level of cheese and corniness that I accept, and that is part of it.
You know,
I see. I don't accept that. So
yeah. I love it.
I refuse.
Like every time it comes on, I'm like, Black Lightning is back. Yeah.
Yeah, no, stop.
Give it to me on the act out. Yes. Like,
I hate that song so much. Sorry, new and upcoming artists.
Said, where's Black Lightning at? Said Black Lightning is back. That'd be me.
Okay. ma'am.
In the house, just
bring it all the way back in. So you can bring it.
Can't see me right now. This is why we need to start doing Facebook Live, so I can be like, yeah.
Well, maybe this show will go the way that A Different World did. They had a kind of a cheesy first season theme song, and then everything after that was Aretha Franklin.
Remixes on Aretha Franklin, no less.
They got Aretha put some stank on it.
Yep.
Although I do love that old school first season Different World theme song. No, my parents love
that was Phoebe Snow.
Stand behind me, come on, man. That was a jam.
Oh, what character shall we talk about next? Shall we talk about a girlfriend in there? A porcelain thing could be broken so easily.
I feel like I'm being cut off, but we're gonna move on. Anissa. So Anissa's scenes open up with some soulful R&B while she's making out with her lady.
A lady like that,
because that they were ladies making out.
That would have been cool though. With D'Angelo's playing that.
They should have. That would have been everything. You know what got me about this though? I was really impressed that, and maybe this is my bias coming in at how Black people are usually depicted on television. I really thought it was going to be an issue. I really thought that she was hiding that girl from her family, and that was why, like, when the girl was all like, you haven't met my friends and blah, blah, blah. I thought it was going to turn out that she was hiding her girlfriend from her family. And then Jefferson is like, oh, and this is over at her girlfriend's house.
Yes.
yes, I noticed that too.
Yes, that stuck out as soon as it happened. And I actually mentioned that to my wife. I was like, it's so awesome that he just casually said my daughter's with her girlfriend.
Yes.
I felt bad. I felt like, am I a bad Black person because I assumed it would be an issue?
Well, I thought the same thing. So based off of her words, so I don't think it's a bias thing. It's just her words, and
I think it's also we're used to the tropes in television, and unfortunately, as we've seen in Discovery, gay couples are usually kind of treated, really crappy in a story. And so our expectation, we kind of expect the worst in a lot of situations.
When they were out and her girlfriend had on that leopard skin costume and they were crossing the street, I just knew she was about to get hit by a car. I'm like, please.
Yes.
Please take home in one piece. Don't kill her.
So
it fails, right?
If you know anything about the casting, you know that she is supposed to have a permanent girlfriend who's her girlfriend in the comics, who is not this girl. So
Yes.
I hadn't even thought of it, but I saw somebody online say,
she's going to
please
betray
don't
her.
let this, like, somebody was like, basically like, please let Anissa end up with Grace because her and her girlfriend break up amicably and not because you kill her. And I had not even thought of that. And I was like, that's really messed up. I really hope they don't kill her current girlfriend just to line up the next girl.
And listen,
because
they had showed them in bed, I'm like, oh my God, she's dead. They're gonna kill her because that's just what they do. She's gonna die.
Mm-hmm. Oh no.
Or worse, she turns informant to Tobias, which could happen. Because remember, she was sort of explaining that, her powers manifesting and just.
But I don't know.
The girlfriend just sort of wrote it off as just
broken sink. Like, boo, that's not how sinks work.
Yeah,
that's what I thought too.
I didn't get that scene at all, because if my girlfriend told me that she broke up a sink, I couldn't just write that off.
And better question: how do the parents not, make a big deal about this?
No, you're right there.
What if my child broke a sink in the house? I'd be like, what in the?
What the hell were you doing?
Right.
She secretly got the sink fixed without them knowing. I honestly don't know how that went down, because it's ridiculous that nobody else has questioned this at all. Also I did love the moment when, what did she say to her? She says to her something like, you looking good, girl, or something like that. And she was like, you sound like an old black man at the club. And I was like, you do. You really do.
You so fine, you bring sight back to the blind or something like that.
I was like, ooh, that's some old black man language right there. I definitely feel like I have heard an old black man say that to me before.
Yeah, that's that drunk uncle line.
Mm-hmm. Come on, girl, over there looking just like your mama. This is so black.
You know what? That's
tell you, this show gets way too real.
It's
really
so real.
does.
I was just gonna skip to the end. So Anissa goes to in terms of her character, because there's not really too much outside of her and her girlfriend making out and misunderstanding each other.
No, because you're downplaying it. She told her girlfriend that she broke the sink, and the girlfriend suggested therapy.
I think, because this is the thing. I think her girlfriend thinks that, number one, that it's not as bad. Like, I think she thinks like, oh, the sink broke. Like, not I ripped the sink out of the wall, or that I broke off half of the sink. And then I think also her girlfriend thinks that she was trying to change the topic.
Because they were talking about what she had been through, so I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so. But I'm sorry, I don't know if I would suggest therapy. I don't know if therapy is the answer for me.
I would suggest hit the gym, but work on some of that aggression. Which leads me to the end. Anissa just wants to kick ass. Like, so she's in the pharmacy because she's having another headache, panic attack. She doesn't know what, and she's looking for some sort of medication. And there's a guy robbing the pharmacy, which I appreciated that he was a white guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, white thieves matter. And they do.
And now we have the title of our episode in our poster.
Yes, ma'am.
ridiculous. And so they go, and so the guy is doing. This is what I really hate. So the guy is doing that thing where he's like, has a gun in your face, and he's like, get on the ground, get on the ground, get on the ground. And he doesn't feel like she's moving fast enough. So then he starts yelling at her and pointing the gun at her more. And if she wasn't a chick with superpowers, and she was just a regular chick having a panic attack because you're pointing a gun in her face, what makes you think that it's going to help her to point a gun in her face and yell at her more? Ugh.
He didn't want to use that gun.
You're so. I hate
Clear.
that though. I hate that. Like, why? Like, that is not. Anyway, and so he ends up getting close to her, and then she just grabs him and throws him across the room.
So real quick, do we think that the panic attack is actually the powers manifesting themselves, and that's physical reaction to it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's. Well, her power is supposed to be, Anissa's power is making her body more dense. So I'm sure also whatever physical part of that is also probably is what is affecting her as well. Because she probably doesn't understand what's happening to her body. Similar to Jefferson still having like the lightning coursing through him. Like there's a physical effect to it. So that's what I assume. But what I love is that after she does it and she kind of realizes, well, this is something, like I have some sort of strength. She just smiles.
Puts the medicine down and walks out.
Yeah, she's like, oh, that's what this is? I'm super strong? Cool. And she just walks out. Which I thought was hilarious. I was like, just let Anissa kick ass. That's all she wants to do. She's good. So let's talk about Jennifer.
You mean since I don't make very good mistakes even after having been kidnapped and almost pulled out?
That's a really long name.
That girl is a hot mess.
What'd you say?
Okay.
I said that's a really long name.
That girl is a hot mess.
Can I flash back to episode 1 for a quick second? When did millennials start using the word fast?
Oh,
okay.
I use the word fast. I've used the word fast. I do use the word fast. I don't really use it.
A lot, though? I
don't use it a lot.
Old word. That's an old word.
I don't use it a lot, but if I see somebody acting fast, I say fast.
Okay.
I don't know if it's so much the usage of the word, but I guess maybe it's the Twitter bubble. But the word fast has become kind of charged language, and I just
it's always been charged language. It's just that Twitter kind of has
exposed it.
Yeah.
I get it, and I understand why people are like, we're not really supposed to use that term anymore. I get that we're not supposed to, or that people now recognize that it's problematic, but let's not act like if you go home right now acting fast, your auntie not gonna call you fast.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, this show is for us, and so I think it does us a disservice if we don't actually use our language. It was just something that was I wanted to hear other opinion, frankly, non-male opinions about the usage of that word.
I've said it. I probably don't say it to the person, but like if I'm if I was talking about my cousins or something like that, and I'm like, oh, she was out there acting fast. Like,
I just realized I don't use it, and I think it's because whenever I've heard it used, when I was growing up, it was usually used very poorly, usually in reference to young girls who might have been sexually acting out because of abuse at home, or young girls who were the victims of sexual abuse. And so I've always associated it with tearing down victims. So I don't recall really using it.
Yeah, it wasn't really ever used in that way necessarily. But around me, not to say that it wasn't problematic, but I don't think it's something I've ever called somebody. Like, I've never been like to a person that I thought, was maybe acting fast. I've never said like, oh, stop acting fast or whatever. Like, or you're a fast girl or whatever. But or don't. And I've definitely never done that thing that people do. Don't hang around that fast girl around the corner or
Mhm.
whatever.
Well, see, I've
But I've
always
heard it. I've heard my family has said it to me about other girls in my
mhm.
neighborhood and things like that.
You see, I heard it, but I've always heard it within it kind of within the context of a young lady who is a little more developed than her peers,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's kind of accusatory.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't want to take it too far into this. It was just I just needed I needed some grounding here. I needed to hear some black women, actually voice their opinions about how that was being used.
I think it also just depends on how you grew up and who you grew up around.
And mind you, I've heard, like I said, the way I've heard it used, I don't use it myself. But for me, a lot of words that I don't use, other people use. In one of the Black podcaster groups, we were talking about cursing, and I mentioned I don't use the N word unless I'm recounting a story where someone used it. People around me use it. I can't police their language as long as you don't call me the word. We're good. But it's a word that gets used. So when I hear it, I don't react. But I think what you were noticing were people were reacting viscerally, almost saying like, "Oh, you shouldn't be calling these girls fast." I'm like, but in the context of the story, it made sense. I think the big question comes to what you said. When did millennials start using this word so frequently? And I think that's kind of a disconnect. I don't know. I have teenagers. I don't know that I've heard any of them using fast in that way.
Yeah.
Same here.
Also,
Yeah, but aren't your teenagers boys though?
Yeah, but
Boys are less likely to use that word than
I'm saying,
girls.
I know, but my son has more female friends than male friends, and not girlfriends. Just he gets along with girls better than boys. So I've been around him and his female friends, and I don't hear them using that word.
But I don't think it's something that girls call each other, girls of the same age. I think it's something that older women say to girls. And then when those girls get older, they say it to girls. You know what I'm saying? Me and my friends would never call each other fast or say we're acting fast, but older women would say it.
Right, and I think that's what I was saying. Going back to what you were saying about do girls of this age, where Anissa and Jennifer were calling each other that did seem a little out of place, but the reactions I was seeing wasn't so much that seems out of place for their age range. It's just that you're not supposed to use that word, and why do they using that word?
Yeah, I could see even though Anissa and Jennifer are close in age. Anissa, she's in med school, so I'm putting her at like around 22, 23, and Jennifer at like around 16. That's a big enough age gap where I could see Anissa talking to her, trying to sound older and trying to act like her mother. Like my cousin is 12 years younger than me. So it wouldn't be weird for me, or 11 years younger than me. So it wouldn't be weird for me to be like, oh, stop acting fast when she was like 15, 16, even though I was in my 20s.
That makes sense.
You know? So Jennifer, this was the thing that surprised the shit out of me. Jennifer has another dude. For somebody who was all up in the club, kikiing with a new dude, she had homeboy waiting in the wings.
And he's a good boy.
He's a good boy. So, okay, now I'm finally putting two and two together.
He's going to die.
Oh, he's gonna die the night before graduation because he just went out one last time with his friends.
Look, already.
And that's when she's gonna realize this life is real and start using her powers for good. Yeah.
Y'all have already fucked up Discovery for me. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Okay. Was this, I'm just putting two and two together, was this the guy who she said she was going to his house for a house party in the first episode?
I'd have to go back and watch.
Because
watch that again.
I don't think so.
Because she said,
because I don't think she ever actually said whose house she was going to for a house party.
I remember she said, we're going to so-and-so's house for a house. I just don't remember what the name, but if this is the boy whose name she said, I can totally understand now why Anissa let her go. Because he is like fucking the sweetest, most together. Like she probably thought it was a bunch of like track team people hanging out. and they were, you know, gonna hang out and drink orange juice and go for a something.
Which, given where she ended up, wouldn't have been a bad option. I'm just saying.
No, I
Go
totally
drink
get
orange
it. Like, and even I mean, we see her exhibiting a lot of self-destructive behavior because clearly she's not handling all of this well, but she's trying to act like she is. So, you know, we see her smoking weed again. She's drinking at school, all this other stuff. But that scene between her and Khalil where he asked her out, was that not the most adorable thing you've ever seen on Earth?
Sweet. And
Nope.
then when he turned around
it was corny as just corny.
Okay, watch out.
I love corny dudes. I love me a corny dude.
Jennifer needs to love some corny dudes. We saw what almost happened to her. You better stay with. Plus, I loved when he called her out. Like, dude, that I'm not doing that. So if this is what you about, I need you to pull it together because this ain't.
He started preaching at her. It was adorable. Oh,
shut up.
Okay, my favorite part. Go ahead.
Wait, just that you can't be on the podcast on Friday. You gonna stop?
What? He gonna die. We all know he's gonna die.
You can't be on the Discovery.
It's just a matter of when.
You about y'all all damn week. Let me tell you something. Y'all not gonna abuse me this entire week. That's what's not supposed to happen. That's what's not happening.
He gonna be Ricky.
Oh no!
I hate the entirety of your soul. The entirety.
My favorite part is when he asked her out, and she asked her if she wanted to be his girlfriend. She said yes. She said yes, and then he said, "Thank you." Are you fucking kidding me? He said, "Thank you."
Such a good boy.
He is adorable, and then gave her like the sweetest, most tentative kiss I've ever seen.
Okay, so let me ask you two this question: if you, at her age, would you have gone out with him?
Oh hell yeah! Did you see his abs? Did you see him running?
Okay, that's on y'all. But
I'm sorry. I was also not one of those people who needed a bad boy. Not that I didn't date one or two in my time, but I was not somebody who is like, oh no, this one over here looks like he may get murdered someday. I would love to date him. No, I was not that chick.
So far,
well, I mean,
as a respectable young man, I would have absolutely have gone out with him if I was their age. Yep, I would have.
Well, but I do have a kid that started dating a guy similar to him. Her second year in high school, they started kind of seeing each other, and she is now 21, and they're still together. So
yeah,
see,
those are the ones that last.
Mm-hmm. Good. You tell her I say good girl.
Like I have friends married to dudes from high school, and they still have the same issues they had when they were dating in high school. No, I would much rather have the nice guy.
Oh, I saw the other option. I met the other option. She made the right choice. Because I tensed up a little bit.
The other really important thing that came from their little interaction on the roof is that Jennifer drops in a line about how when she looked at Black Lightning's face, she couldn't really see him or something like that. That his face just looked like lightning. Mm-hmm. So I was glad they threw that in there because I was for sure that they recognized their father last week.
No, remember last week we were like, how the hell did they not recognize their daddy's big ass forehead?
How did anybody not notice it? Yeah.
Well,
now
he was Black Jesus for the community.
Well, no. But
okay. So who? Wait.
Let me finish. No, like she said, when they're looking at him, if she's saying when I looked at him, all I saw was light, then
I got that.
Yeah. What everyone else is saying too.
Yeah. No, I got that. That was that. I'm agreeing that I'm glad that they added that because there's no way you can tell me that the entire community did not know who he was if they could see his face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very distinguished.
And they call him Black Jesus.
Everyone does, apparently.
I think the title of episode 4 is actually called Black Jesus. So,
You gonna get some Isaac Hayes?
But I think that's a problem in
Was that
DC
like?
though. People seem to not recognize superheroes with just the minimum amount of masks on. People in Metropolis can't seem to do it.
Yeah,
and it seems like the people of Freeland can't do it. So
yeah, I'm just glad they gave a reason, even if it's flimsy. I'm just glad they gave a reason. So now at least we can be out here like this is why they don't recognize who he is. At least we have a reason, even if it's flimsy. That's all I care about.
It's good enough for me.
Yeah, I'll take it. So let's talk about the villains, because this show is moving at a mile a minute.
They weren't long in this world.
So I thought we weren't going to get Jeff and Lynn kissing until like episode 3. I thought these villains, this is what we have 13 episodes. I was like, these are our villains for our 13 episodes. They said, fuck what you heard.
I wonder if this is like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. effect, because Agents does the same thing. Like something that you think would linger for 10 episodes, they come back with the next episode and they solve that problem. And I wonder if other writers are picking up on that.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Because it's a brilliant way to tell a story, because you have that overarching narrative. But I think something that they did, what was it, in the 90s and the early aughts, is they would take things that you would normally consider to be minutia and stretch it out beyond the point of logic. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been the opposite of that.
Yeah, I love it. So first of all, Latavius is out here just acting like Black Lightning didn't just come and beat everybody's ass. He's I was so surprised. I just was calling him toxic masculinity the whole episode, because his need to prove how together he has it when he clearly doesn't. Like, you got harpooned, my nigga. Like, harpooned. But you out in these streets with, talking about some say my name right and all up in Jefferson's face. It got like two 16-year-olds pulling guns on him and all this other ridiculousness. And I'm like, wow, you really need to prove that your dick is big. I do not understand this man.
How do you recover from being probably the first brother ever to almost get killed by a harpoon?
Harpooned. I didn't know that was a thing that we're doing, but apparently it is. And then they find Will. So Alfred is out looking for Will, but Latavius finds him first. And it was so funny because I wrote in my notes, Will just needs to die, to be honest. And then literally 2 seconds later, I wrote, well,
and here's the thing. They grabbed him up, and I thought, I'm so used to the way the DC TV folks write this show. I keep forgetting these aren't their normal slate of writers. Because a normal slate of writers would have knocked him out and locked him up. And for a couple episodes, he'd be locked up and tortured. They was like, yeah, gangland style execution, throw him in a dumpster. I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing.
It was ridiculous. And honestly, I typed Will needs to die because I was just like, he gets beat up all the time. Like, what does he have to live for? He's gotten beat up by every single character on this show. But I didn't think they'd actually kill him. I thought that was just going to be his thing, that he gets beat up all the time. That was just going to be the thing. Will shows up, he gets beat up. That's how it goes.
You thought he was the Turk.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be that. Like, every time he shows up, he gets beat up. We all go, ha, 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 and then it goes to commercial break. I thought
to go back to I'm going to get you, sucker. He's going to be the dude taking the window or taking the stairs.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be that. I really did. They were like, nope. And then, so Lawanda's out here, and I'll give her props because Lawanda was smart enough. She said, I'm going to have a backup. She has the camera phone watching. So Latavius, after killing Will, comes back to the hotel. Even though she told Jefferson she wasn't gonna stake out anymore, she sees this as an opportunity to confront Latavius. And so she puts the cell phone camera on top of the dashboard, incredibly smart. And then she takes her camcorder and she gets out the car with the camcorder. But she's doing too much.
I
Lawanda
was
was
not
doing too
ready
much.
to happen. I was like, did he just shot her? I was like, what?
Yeah, they
He
killing folks for real on this show.
turned around and shot her so fast. I had to rewind. I was stunned. I was like so like 1 second she was just asking some questions, and the next and they showed it point, like, I know this comes on at 9 o'clock, but still they showed this point blank Lawanda getting shot in her chest.
Mm-hmm.
All the bloods, all the blood. All
It was so messed up.
hurt. And especially because of what she told Jefferson at that gym. That everybody will pray for me, but no one will fight for me. And sure enough, she died out there alone. No backup.
And
it was funny because when Jefferson said, just give me time and I'll handle this for you.
He said 48 hours, and it was less than maybe 12.
Right. No, where is it? He's like, I promise I won't let you down. And I sent a message to Shanna. I was like, narrator says, he's going to let her down.
Oh yeah, that was the point where you knew she was gonna die.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And it was so messed up too, because he said to her, what's the point of freeing your daughter if she's just gonna come home to a dead mother? Like, it was sad. It was really sad. And so then you see why Jefferson ends up going the way he does. He beats up Latavius, sends him to jail. Apparently the inspector did one little bit of police work and managed to find the cell phone with the recording on it. And Lala's locked up. And I'm saying Lala because when Tobias Whale comes into that jail to get him, the way he said, I can't even imitate his voice, but the way he said Lala was the blackest shit I've ever heard.
Look, you know what? That first conversation in that episode between Tobias and Lala, there was a part of me that said, I hope little white kids ain't watching this show, because y'all can start quoting some of these conversations and get your lip split, because they darkies. Really?
Oh yes. Ooh. Okay.
Really?
So this is the other thing we have to talk about. How Tobias gonna be an albino and be out here with the colorism? The colorism was real. What was that about?
They called him a thick lip Negro, but really?
Somewhere Greg Berlanti is like, yeah, I'm not writing this.
You know. I don't know who wrote this episode, but I feel like either they have a very black writer's room or they have a writer's room with where it's half black, half white, and the black people do a pass through the script just to add the extra blackness. Because there is no way a white writer felt comfortable enough to write that.
No. Because I had to rewind that. I was like, wait a minute. Did he just what?
I feel like the white writers, they write the thing and then just in parentheses they says some black phrase holds for more blackness.
At that moment I felt like the gif of the youngest daughter from Blackish, when she grabs her chest. Diane, when she grabs her chest. That was me. I say, this is on national television at 9 o'clock on the CW? What?
I was not ready for the colorism. I'm going to be absolutely honest. I was not ready for the colorism from the albino dude.
Yeah, that had me messed up.
Yeah. So Tobias comes in. He is let in by a cop. So confirmation that the police force is corrupt as fuck.
Oh, and then the other desk sergeant opened the cage for him.
Mm-hmm. And then he just kills Lala. Like he just kills him.
But don't forget why he killed him.
Because he knows that he could possibly turn.
Right. His whole thing was like, if you're willing to kill a mother like that, it seems like he's got some kind of code. Like maybe she needed to be handled, but he didn't want to see that woman dead. And his whole thing, he's like,
think it was that.
He was basically,
oh, sorry.
He was basically saying, if you can be that dirty, then you'll snitch on me, and you got to go.
And that was real. I kind of liked that part.
See, I didn't think it was quite that deep. He'd been looking for a reason to kill him anyway. So he's like, okay, it was one of the, okay, this sounds good now. And it just, killed him.
That's because Tobias knew Lala wasn't shit. So, he just proved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, they killing niggas with impunity. They don't care. They just,
bruh.
None of this matters. They're killing everybody. Just, it's a mess. But it was a great ending to a second episode. I honestly don't know where we go from here now. Like our two, I guess, intro villains before we get to the big bad are done, and we're in episode 2.
Well, I think the white girl is actually a villain that, at least according to things that I've sort of
to me
read.
They feel more like henchmen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like they
present more like side, like right hand people.
Yeah, like they're not villains. I don't think they're going to make a move that Tobias hasn't sanctioned or asked them to do. Like it doesn't feel like they act independently. Whereas Latavius, he was kind of a wild card, which is why I understand why Tobias got rid of him. And then Will was definitely a wild card because he just get angry and do whatever. But I thought he was going to be kind of like, like I said, I thought he was going to get beat up every couple episodes, and that was going to be his thing. Like it was going to be funny. Nope. 2 shots to the head. Done. So
there really isn't any comic relief on this show though. This show is heavy as hell.
Yeah, I think that's part of why I'm enjoying it, but I'm also struggling with it. I think that might be why. It's just a little too. It's heavy and it's a little too realistic for me.
Yeah,
because I think that might have been the answer. Like having Will just like take the stairs, every episode. That might be enough. It's just a little break from the heavy.
I mean, how many people got killed this episode? 3? All shot. No.
Well, there was some comic relief.
2 were
shot.
There
was some comic relief on this episode, though.
2 were shot, and Lala was choked. I'm sorry, not 3 were shot. I apologize. I got that wrong.
There was some comic relief.
Really? Where?
The I'm gonna get you sucker moment toward the end of the episode.
Oh, when everybody. There was some. Like I can take you right up.
like my man. We going to the floor. Apartment number 3 down the hall.
His bedroom is the second door on the left.
Can't miss it.
The one with the Snoopy bread spread. No, I'm sorry.
And what I thought was cute about it as well was that last week the guy said his outfit looked like Parliament Funkadelic, and then this week you had that kind of like 70s like Shaft music, and everybody like just being over the top. I like what this show is doing. I think it's great.
Yeah, but I think that's going to continue because I think they're doing a callback to the fact that Black Lightning, like Luke Cage, is a product of the blaxploitation era. Mm-hmm. So I you look at the car that Lala was driving. I think that they're gonna do a lot of that. I like 70s soul, so I'm here for it.
Are we ready for feedback yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the record, that song that was playing while he was sitting in the car was by some dude named Lattimore.
Yeah, it's Lattimore.
Blues Hall of Famer.
Whoa! Did you say some dude named Lattimore?
Yeah, I'm
Well,
a
okay.
little bit offended by that. But
I'd never heard of him, so he's some dude treatment.
Hand over
I'm
your
sorry.
right now. Right now.
because the minute I heard that song, I went to iTunes.
I could say some other things that would really make you demand my card.
We're gonna jump into feedback.
Yeah, because the minute that song came on, I pulled that up on iTunes for the commercial.
Well, it was and someone, I forget which female R&B artist remade it, but it was remade. So, but yeah. Anyway, Amani. Hey, Amani. Okay, so this is feedback for both Supergirl and Black Lightning. So hold up, a black world killer? Yep. Sorry, Kara, I might have to get with the winning team, and a black woman with superpowers dealing justice is something I'm here for. But we know Sam's not making it out of this season. She's going to sacrifice herself, and Alex is adopting that baby. See, I think it works better if the baby dies. Okay, sorry, Shanna's going to hang up on me. Not to be that person, but a blue sun actually makes Kryptonians stronger. So Kara really just wanted an excuse to get away from Mon-El. I mean, that was, she was probably hoping LiveWire or Petra killed his wife by mistake so she wouldn't have to. That's petty, Amani. That's me.
I didn't mention this during our part of the recap, but I did want to say that Chris Wood is looking extra good. I really like that facial hair on him, so I get why Carl does want him back.
He does look good. He's an attractive man.
And he's sweeter and like nicer and like more. He's not as goofy frat boy anymore.
He's grounded.
Yes.
Like he said, and he even cracked a joke about it. Like, yeah, I made a succinct point that led to a conclusion.
Yeah, I love it. It's just, I don't know. It's just older, sexy Mon-El. I don't know. I'm really liking it.
And I'm calling it right now. Detective Stephen A. Smith is on the albino rhino's payroll. Okay, that's that. Let's just stick with Lex Jadena because I feel like that might be slightly offensive.
It looks more like Martin Luther King. Can't you just imagine him saying, "I have a dream"?
He's suspiciously present at too many times to not do anything. Poor Tawana broke my heart this episode. Lawanda, not Tawana. Broke my heart this episode. She was acting her ass off and felt that rage and desperation of motherhood. Dollar store Ralph Payne had to die. I called him Great Value Kofi, so I guess Dollar Store Ralph Angel will also. Thanks for the recaps as always. Can't wait to listen. Sharad B. Hey, buddy. I agree with Amani here. Black World Killer might be a shifting point for me. Everybody's jumping ship. Become a Team World Killer. I love it. I'm still mad LiveWire got killed. That kind of hurt. But like I said, they telegraphed it because they were giving her too much background. She still had potential. You know what? Hashtag Team World Breakers. All that is World Killers. I still feel like Supergirl will be better after Legend finishes. Now, Black Lightning, on the other hand, was too good. I'm going to borrow a line from Chris and say that Black Lightning might be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. of the CW shows. What do you guys think of that?
The direction that they're going in, I agree. I mean, narratively speaking, they're doing a lot of the same things that Agents is doing.
Mm-hmm. What about EB?
I mean, do we just mean it like
I'm
in that
really
it's better?
behind on S.H.I.E.L.D., so I'm not really the best person to talk about.
Sorry.
I'm still at the point where they just revealed that May is a LMD.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Get your
Yeah, you way back. I mean, I think time will tell. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. famously needed about a half a season to really become Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, I mean, I think the jury is still out. What the writers of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have done is I mean, just magnificent. I think, we really, that show needs to end up in the books as one of the greatest ever. So, I think it has potential. I think narratively speaking, they seem to be copying a lot of things that Agents is doing. I think time will tell.
I guess my question is, does he mean it's the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. of the CW shows in the sense that it's better than the other CW shows? Because yes, it is better. but But I still feel like, I don't know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has kind of just cracked the code on how to do this in a
Mm-hmm.
way that combines everything. Yeah, I want to give it till season 2 and see if it like keeps up this momentum, and then also, like I was just watching Grownish, and for me that show didn't really click in, like their cast didn't really click in until episode 3. So I'm really interested in next week's episode.
I will say that that is a good point because the Flash had a strong freshman season, and now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I
Go
don't
ahead.
understand. I don't understand this need to determine the fate of a show based off of one season. I mean,
Yeah.
particularly when you talk about sci-fi and fantasy. I keep going back to I've been rewatching Deep Space Nine for a while now. The first two seasons of Deep Space Nine are incredibly hard to watch. The first season is just it's bad.
Same with
But
the first 2 seasons are a bit to get through.
yeah, so this is that's the baseline. Like that's normally what we experience with a show, with a science fiction or fantasy show. You need time to establish the world, you need time to establish the characters. And I don't understand what it is about. I mean, I understand we live in a Twitter age, but I don't understand why people can't understand that a show is in its first season and it needs to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we talked about this when we did, I think is when we talked about some of the select Star Trek episodes. Star Trek, and including Deep Space Nine, came on at a time where you didn't have cable and internet and everything. And you, even with the cable you had, you didn't have new original content. So your viewing options were limited. So a show could take a couple of years to get its footing, and networks would give you a chance. Now you have so many options that people want instant hits. It's that instant gratification piece.
Yeah.
That I think is into it. I agree with you though. These sci-fi shows, you do need time to let them world build, because otherwise you have a shitty, shoddy show and a shitty story. But we live in an age where everybody wants what they want right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is not like you could say, well, Discovery came out and lighten it up, but Discovery is a part of a franchise that has existed since the 60s. Right. So they did not need to build a world. That world already existed.
Exactly it. He continues, I don't want to watch Flash or Arrow this week. None of us want to watch Flash. I don't know about Arrow, but none of us want to watch Flash this week. My favorite part was Anissa with her lover. Gave me some vibes for Emily and Maya from Pretty Little Liars. I've never watched that show.
Emily and Maya were, first of all, one of the best couples ever. It was Shay Mitchell and Bianca Lawson's non-Asian ass. Still playing a teenager.
Of course.
But yeah, they were a very, very beautiful couple. Of course, because they were lesbians and in love and had sex, Bianca Lawson's character was killed off.
I was just about to ask, so one of them died, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how it goes. I'm so damn happy Lala's gone. Any hood show would kill a dude like that. I also felt bad Lawanda got killed. Hoping that is the spark that makes Jefferson take up being Black Lightning. It appears to have been, because he was just like, I've been asleep for 9 years. I'm woke.
Can I just say, I read the episode titles, so I knew the first thing was called Lawanda Book of Hope, and the second thing is called like Lawanda Burial or something like that. But I still did not think they would kill Lawanda.
How did you think? Okay.
I don't know what I thought it was. I thought they were using metaphorical language or something. Like when he shot Lawanda, I was legitimately
Did you think for
surprised. No, I was just like, not that. It was just that I didn't, when I read those titles, I didn't think, it's very obvious now that, in the first one, she's going to die because the second one is called Burial. But I don't know why it just didn't, I didn't think it was going to happen.
CW.
Still waiting for the girls' powers to show up. Might be 2 to 3 more episodes. I just want to see the whole the whole family kicking ass. Thank you.
Okay. I know this show is moving fast, but I still am sticking by my prediction. I don't think Jennifer is going to get powers until at least the end of the season.
Yeah, probably. All that drinking and smoking she's doing. Joseph S. Hi, ladies.
Let that girl get high. She's been through some things.
Look, I got to go to work in the morning. Let me finish this. I generally have lots of thoughts, but not today. Supergirl was interesting. Felt a bit campy, but not too campy. Alex don't need to be telling Ruby shit. Talk about it. Anyway, that child is a child. Although Alex handling that bully was pretty funny. Sam about to end up fired. Farewell, LiveWire. Psi has some sexy ass eyes. Kara was Kara. It was nice to see the role reversal with the strong women and the supportive men. More of this, please. I am loving them allowing Kara to be a grown-up after 2 years of the mealy-mouthed pixie girl thing. She is a full-fledged adult. Bring it. Keep it every week. What can I say about Black Lightning? This is a blackity black-ass black show. I love how their city feels lived in and how it feels like everyone matters. The other CW shows have their cities as props. Black Lightning City feels like a place I could visit. That's a good point. It does feel lived in. I wouldn't want to because I'd wake up dead, but I could do it. I'm glad Latavius is dead. I hope people don't start hating Lynn. She's making salient points, and it's clear she cares about Jefferson. I think right now the only person that hates Lynn is Gamby. Looks like this was a little bit longer than I expected. Oh, well. Oh, it wasn't bad. You're fine. And that is it. That is all our feedback.
All right. So we will be back next week with Lawanda, the Book of Burial, Black Lightning's episode 3, and also Supergirl. Didn't look up the title. You guys, I swear I love Supergirl, but I really love Black Lightning. So my notes are very minimal when it comes to Supergirl right now.
I'm still in season 2 of Supergirl.
I got Supergirl covered. You're fine.
Do you know the name of the next episode, though?
Why you got to bring up old shit?
Give me one. I'll pull it up. Go with your one more thing.
One quick thing. A black show isn't a black show unless you have a Clifton Powell appearance.
Yes!
Shout out to Clifton Powell.
I almost forgot him. I was like, first of all, because last week they showed the news anchor from Atlanta, the one that passed away, which I realized Nina talked about it on the Project Fandom podcast, and I was like, oh, that's so sad. And then they also use Roland Martin, so they use 2 actual newscasters. So when they use Clifton Powell this week, I lost it. I was like, Clifton Powell. And then also, why are you going to waste Clifton Powell like that? Why are you using him as a new anchor? He should come on as a villain.
No, he was a preacher.
Oh, yeah.
He was a preacher, so there's possibilities for him to come back.
Is he going to be an
next
evil
episode is
preacher?
Book of Burial.
Is he going to be an evil preacher?
I don't know, but he's a preacher, so...
There's one other thing. The next week's episode of Supergirl is called For Good. Yeah. And Morgan Edge is setting up Lena, and I'm like, this better be something.
Well, you know, if it's going to be focused on Lena, that means we're going to get some focus on Jimmy.
Woohoo!
Okay.
It seems y'all are Meerkat Brooks fans. So.
Yes, we are. Yeah, I have met him twice now, and he is a very nice gentleman who is very tall and good looking.
And he smells good.
Mm-hmm.
Thirst order.
Hashtag
the thirst order.
The thirst order. That's what we are.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys for joining us. We will talk to you next week. Please send in feedback. We will also try and check the website because you can Facebook comment on the website as well. Yeah, we're just going to continue these black ass reviews, and we're going to try and not make them 100 hours long, but it's really hard. Thank you.